Oh, look at us!
But one guy's looked at like the savior, the other guy's like a dunce holding a clipboard. It's bad business to keep hiring and firing coaches every year. How are you ever going to develop players? How are you ever going to attract free agents? Like, how are you going to?
You don't pay attention to that, bro.
I feel like you should.
What? Okay, you're talking. This is great. This is great. I love that. Thank you.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Dude, that's my point. We got a lot to get through. We are not going to start Super Bowl stuff until later on the show when we have Josh McCown and all that stuff. But listen, let's get right into it. So I had the devil's advocate stuff with Steve Wilks, Al Holcomb, and all that stuff, and got a lot of interesting information through the process once the show dropped. And I would say this. I generally always, when a topic like this comes up, I try not to talk to people because then that doesn't taint the devil's advocate, the part of like looking like going against the grain, saying why. Do I love and like Steve Wilks? Absolutely. And even I'll take it a step further, respect the heck out of him. Have the ability to talk to him at my fingertips. Via text or telephone call, but I try to stay clear of talking to people before I do the podcast because sometimes that can, those little nuggets or those little whispers in your ear, they kind of can change you to go in a different direction. So I didn't talk to Steve Wilks. I didn't talk to Al Holcomb. I tried not to talk to anybody in the Panthers organization just because I wanted to do my own research and go at it. Not that I don't believe that Steve Wilks should have gotten the job. I think and hope that Steve Wilks would have gotten the job. But I also understand why he didn't get the job. And I have to say I understand that it's because I live here in Charlotte. And if you are going to ride and die with your team, you got to take the good and the bad. You got to take it where sometimes they're going to do things. Every business is going to do things that you don't like. And then there's going to be times where they do stuff where it's a home run. And making Steve Wilks the interim head coach at the time, after Matt Rule, I believe, was a good decision. Do I think it's a great decision with Frank Reich? Let me be clear. We don't know. We have no idea.
Well, it's also like he may be a good coach, and if you don't nail the quarterback, like what happened in Indianapolis, it won't matter. It just won't matter. And you can say the same for Wilks. If they don't nail that next step, which is a huge step, they could have Belichick there. They could have Andy Reid there. It just wouldn't matter.
It all has to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did check with some folks, and then I did find out when Steve Wilks was asked to not include Al Holcomb as his defense coordinator to have some other options, guess what, people? He told Al that I may not have you as you may not be the defensive coordinator. I may be moving on from you as the coordinator, and he let him know. So just to kind of clarify things, and then also just tell you, Steve Wilks walked into that meeting as well prepared as the next guy, as the Frank Reich. But here's what I would tell you that I think is unfair to Steve Wilks and unfair to any head coach, any potential head coach right now trying to get in the NFL that's a defensive-minded coach. Guess what, people? You're not going to get hired. Very rarely. Right now, the flavor of the month, doesn't matter what color you are, it matters what side of the ball you're on. And it's an offensive-minded team. Who are two people playing for the Super Bowl right now? Offensive-minded head coaches. Coaches who have been deemed as creative, innovative, offensive gurus. And I believe that played in the favor of Frank Reich. It played in the favor of him being a former quarterback coach, as some people say, the quarterback whisperer. some of the success he has had as a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, whatever the case, whatever role you want to say, with the Philadelphia Eagles when they won a Super Bowl 6 years ago. Currently, 8 of those players are on the roster right now from Nick Sirianni's team. So the turnover it's not like Nick Sirianni did not inherit that team from last year. He's made some good adjustments. So I think that's good. And then also, too, look at what's happened with Sean Payton. Sean Payton gets hired as a Denver Broncos head coach. Why? Because of what he has done with players, what he did with Drew Brees, what those offensive numbers were as Sean Payton was a head coach and a play caller, what they've been able to accomplish under Sean Payton. It's hard to let that man leave the building, especially when you already have a quarterback he's your guy, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, they invested too much. They have to figure out a way to try and make it work. Whether or not it does is a different story.
Who knows if it's going to work? But it better work.
Let me ask you this, because during this whole Sean Payton saga this offseason, I think it put his numbers under a microscope a little bit, because he has the one Super Bowl. Can't take that away from him. But there's another coach who's perpetually on the hot seat who has a very similar resume. So I'm hoping you can tell me what the difference is between Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy. Because if you just look at their numbers and their resume, they're almost identical in terms of record, Super Bowl. Like, they don't have terrible lows. I think the lowest Sean Payton ever got in New Orleans was 7-9. Mike McCarthy, very similar throughout Green Bay and Dallas. But one guy's looked at like the savior, the other guy's like a dunce holding a clipboard. So that's where it's like, that's how he's viewed. I'm not saying that's how I view them. That's how he's viewed.
Let me see if I can do it right. Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's what he does on the offense.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Let me tell you why. Sean Payton retired he took a year off. He took a year off because he felt he needed to take a year off. The difference, I believe, with Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy is look at how things unraveled in Green Bay comparison to New Orleans. New Orleans, Drew Brees retires. They still don't have a top-tier quarterback at the time. He did do well with Teddy Bridgewater in the absence of the injury for a couple of weeks of Drew Brees. He made Jameis Winston look pretty good until the injury. Mm-hmm. He's done some things, the Wildcat with Taysom Hill. So you have all of that, right? What separates Mike McCarthy from Sean Payton is Mike McCarthy still had a younger Aaron Rodgers. And when having a younger Aaron Rodgers, not a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, not a 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers was he was in his prime. Mm-hmm. They had some pretty darn good players. It was kind of the expectations that they had with the type of team they had and the results just weren't close. And they felt that they needed to get rid of Mike McCarthy in a new, fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah. They
hired a sane offensive-minded coach because they felt a defensive-minded coach would make things go backwards. Now, what's happening, I believe, and maybe I'm taking maybe I'm assuming, I would think that some Cowboy fans are kind of feeling the same thing that they felt in Green Bay near the end is, man, we got a darn good football team, but we can't get over the hump. Is it our team or is it our coach? And what I always find interesting in these times right now, whether it's the Washington Commanders, the Cowboys, these teams who are kind of like this, right? They could go either way. The first thing they do is fire all this or enough of a coordinator, or they let a coordinator. Hey, we have a what do they? I love when they say it. A mutual agreement that we're going to part ways. What I always find interesting with that, and we saw it with Dan Quinn when he was with the Atlanta Falcons, they let go of coordinators because they're on the hot seat. And so that's their last resort to say is, hey, I'm a good coach. It's them.
Right. And now you see Dallas bringing in Schottenheimer, which...
I think that's a good move for him.
Why? For who? For McCarthy or Schottenheimer?
Oh, I mean both. You're right. I think it's a good move for a dude that isn't employed, right? So yeah, that's good. I think it's a good move because Schottenheimer, he was part of that successful Seattle team. Who was the quarterback?
Russell Wilson.
How does Russell Wilson look last year?
Bad.
How did Russell? I don't believe Russell Wilson was with. He wasn't with them last year in Seattle. His last year.
No, he wasn't. Last year he was in Jacksonville, which not great.
I think Brian Schottenheimer is going to be good because it's going to be a little bit of a different offense. So Dak's going to have to learn new offense, which I think is good because that means Dak's going to have a full offseason. And he's gonna be in his bag.
So it was announced he's going to be the offensive coordinator, but McCarthy will be calling the plays. What to someone like me? What does that mean? Like what's the benefit of bringing in? Is it just the week to week stuff during the week?
So what it is? So let's break that down. I'm calling the plays, which means I know my hiney is on the line.
Right.
And I will not be fired because of you. That also tells me desperate people take desperate measures. That could be a good thing, fight or flight, or that could be a bad thing. But guess what? We're going to find out.
Yeah, we sure will.
We are going to find out. The other part is that's a fresh pair of eyes to be creative, to give me some ideas, to allow me, because here's one of the things that you do need as a head coach. You also have to manage the game. A la Nathaniel Hackett did not do a very good job managing the game. That's why he brought in Jerry Rossberg to help him manage the game, and because he was the first time game manager, head coach, where you're doing the offense play calling, but also you got to remember how many timeouts we have. How many challenges do we have? What are we doing? So managing all that stuff, that's a daunting task.
How daunting is it to remember how many of your timeouts or challenges you've used? Because I do see people mess it up constantly, but it's also like, when you call the timeout. So it's
no, you don't. You don't pay attention to that, bro.
I feel like you should.
What? Okay, you're talking. This is great. I love that. Thank you. Good job.
I know.
You're watching television where you have all of that at your fingertips, right? You got a title bar, you got the score, you got the clock, you got all that. As a coach, man, you're watching people and men and, okay, what kind of defense are they running? What down is it? Okay, we ran play 15. That play didn't work, so you got to mark that off.
Mm-hmm.
We ran play 25. Man, that was a good one. We may want to call that one again. Hey, 3rd and 5. We got 10 plays for 3rd and 5. We got 10 plays for 3rd and 10 plus. No, we ain't got no play for 3rd and 25. Right? That man, I didn't plan for that one. So it's It is not as easy as you think, right? Because you're managing the game. You also, the trainers tell you, hey, we just lost.
Right.
We just lost our running back. He's out. Well, the backup running back doesn't hit the 34 wham the same way that the backup isn't hitting the 34 wham versus the guy who's the starter.
Right.
Right? Tiptoe Charlie, Melvin Gordon, ain't hitting that 30, the in between the tackles the same way that someone else is. Did we not find that out?
Definitely.
Right? Tim Patrick goes down. Now they're doubling Courtland Sutton. We got to get Jerry Jeudy involved. What routes can he run? Go route. Go route. He has all that going on. Where is a timeout at the top of my head when I got running back goes down, wide receivers goes down? I got two coaches arguing. I got my Blake Bortles goes out. My first round tackle, he's down. Bro, you got a wife? I have a wife. Your wife has done stuff where you turn on, you start to cook this. This person needs that. That person needs that. Oh, yeah, I forgot I was cooking.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. You get sidetracked, Sally, all the time.
What I will say, I do think remembering how many timeouts you have with 14 minutes left in the first quarter doesn't require as much brain attention as 2-minute drill.
That's why you're not a coach.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying that.
If you use your first 3 timeouts in the first minute of the game, I feel like you have much larger problems.
I understand, but you using those timeouts.
There's also so many reasons I'm not a coach. This is a ton of reasons.
Yes, but I'm saying, okay, why'd you use the first timeout? Because we didn't get the play in. Because we didn't get the substitution. Why we get the substitution? Because the O-line coach, that when I said we're running big personnel, big, that's big personnel. That's the signal for it, right? That's usually a goal line. And the big personnel guy sitting on the sideline going, big. Fool, you big, go in there. And so you got to call a timeout. So you use that timeout. Then there's a catch. That wasn't a catch or it was a catch. So you challenge it. They telling you in the booth, like everybody else and the player on the field, man, I caught that. And then they call a bad call, and it wasn't a catch. So that's 2 timeouts. Bang. Right there, that's how quick it happens.
For sure. And there's also, I have it on my TV. They have it on the Jumbotron right there. So a little neck crane.
Here's what I would tell you. I've played 16. Well, let's see. I've dressed up for 15 games, 15 seasons. 1 year I got hurt opening game, so I didn't play a whole year. 15 games. I can tell you right now, in the Panthers Stadium, when now is full digital, it's over here. When there wasn't digital before the digital world, it was right here. Bro, there were times I would forget to look at it.
Definitely. I could see, I could see how it gets caught up over the course of a game. I definitely understand that. But even to what you were just saying, not like before the game, they always show the coaches out on the field looking around. That feels like the time to be like, all right, where are they?
And would you like to know what they're looking at?
The wind.
The sun. They're not looking at, where's the scoreboard that's going to let me know how many timeouts I have?
If you're that bad at knowing how many timeouts you have, that should be ahead of the sun.
That's why you have assistant coaches to help you fill in that gap.
Also that too, yeah. It should be someone's job, whether or not it's the head coach. Someone on that sideline's job
and someone obviously has messed up. Like I'm just telling you, it's not as easy as you're sitting here in your air conditioner guest room saying, right? And I'm glad to see that your clothes that you're going to wear is on the same bed that your dog has been wiping his butt and rolling around.
There's no clothes touching mattress over there.
You got some shoes on there.
There are shoes touching mattress, yes.
Yeah. Was your dog sitting on that?
You think that's dirtier than the ground?
I mean, I don't know your house, so I'm not
the literal ground. I'm talking about the ground outside.
Stop it. All right. Man, I'm interested to see. So here's one of the ideas that I had, right? With Sean Payton coming to Denver. Mm-hmm. Jerry Jeudy stock just went up for me. Hey, if you're looking for a fantasy steal, Jerry Jeudy next year will be a fantasy steal. Would you like to know why?
I would.
Robert Meacham. You remember him?
I do.
He was just a jag, just a guy. But the way Sean Payton designs offense, that can help him. Jerry Jeudy, put with his speed, Robert Meacham had a ton of speed. Put him in the slot, run some routes, he'll be they had a number of guys that were jags, but the way that Sean Payton designs the offense, the way he dials up his creativity, oh my gosh. You have got a diamond in the rough under Sean Payton. Now, Robert Meacham went to the San Diego Chargers at the time. They signed him to a signing bonus, and 7 games in, chop, chop, chop. And guess who picked him right back up in that same year?
Yeah, the Saints.
The Saints. So you can have a system that makes a player better. Am I saying that Jerry Jeudy can't play? No, I'm not saying that. I just don't believe Jerry Jeudy currently right now at his limited route tree, but his speed does present a problem in Sean Payton's offense. His speed did not present a problem for the Denver Broncos in that offense last year, but I believe this year he can benefit from it, and Sean Payton will benefit from it because he's one of the most creative guys out there based on his past history of making regular guys, Pro Bowlers, Tier 1, Tier 2 wide receivers. Look at Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was on the precipice of breaking the bank. They had arbitration. Hey, I'm a tight end, but I should get paid like a receiver. He goes to Seattle, and we have not heard from him since.
He's been flying helicopters. That's what he's been doing.
Flying helicopters?
Yeah, he loves flying helicopters. That was part of why he went to Seattle, because he could live somewhere and fly his helicopter to the game.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Very. I would not want my players flying their own helicopters to games.
Yeah, but hey, worked out for him.
Yeah.
And then he went to and then from there he went to Green Bay.
Yep.
Tried to make him a goal line specialist. Nope.
Not quite, no.
Nope.
Now, I've also heard the Broncos, since they've had to give up so much draft capital to get their coach and their quarterback, they might be shopping either Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. If you're a different team, which one has more value in your eyes? Because Judy's a little younger, Sutton's shown more.
It depends on what my offense and what guys are around me.
Okay.
Right? Tell me a team that you think he that should get that should be in the shopping category, and then I can tell you which guy they should get. Throw a team out there that you think.
Start off easy. New England Patriots.
Ooh. Not Jerry Jeudy.
Okay. Okay.
Because you don't have a number one.
That's what I mean. We're in the market for a number one.
Jerry Jeudy is not your number one.
Okay.
Not where he is right now in his career. Can he be? I don't know. I'm not going to limit and say he can't. But all you're doing is changing between him and Jacoby Myers. And here's what I mean. Speed.
Right.
Is he better than Jacoby Myers? Yes. But I'm just saying, if Jerry Jeudy is your number one receiver with what you have currently, I don't see you helping Mac Jones right now. Now, if you have Courtland Sutton and you are also going to get some other players in the draft, then yes. One of those players, I think, and we'll talk about him later because I'm going to do a full breakdown on him, Zay Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this and put it out there. Quentin Johnston, there's some folks that didn't like. They said, you sound super dumb. And there's one of his family members that said, bro, I was about to cuss you out. Here's my reply to you, cousin or cuzzo or friend of the family. I'm just giving my assessment that a few teams have reached out to me and said, hey, Steve, what's your evaluation on Quentin Johnston? I was just giving you my evaluation. I said I like him, but make me love you. So if you're upset at my critiquing, that's what people are asking me to do is critique. Tell me what they see, and that's what I saw. Oh, he's so athletic that you're missing it, Steve. I'm just trying to help you. But if you don't want me to critique you, I don't have to. I won't mention your name anymore.
Very excited for this to happen after every wide receiver we talk about. You talk about them once, and they go in the vault like Disney movies in the 90s.
No. See, let me clear something up. When you say a vault, that means that they're actually a vault. When I put something in a vault or the safe, it has a value, and it's something significantly special that I don't want other people to see.
Okay.
I don't put wide receivers in college in my vault because that means they have to be an asset for me. Like I'll put some IPOs that I've invested in some companies that have given me some certificates, some stock certificates that's worth a hell of a lot more money than some tweet that I'm evaluating a player. So all I'm going to say is, if you don't want me talking about your guy, I won't. But just remember, when I don't talk about him, that means when other teams ask me about him, I'm going to say, well, his family doesn't like me to talk about him. So that's going to be a character trait that they say, hey, you better get rid of the people around you. I could put him in that same category of that quarterback that I'll never mention anymore.
I feel like there's a couple of those now.
No, it's just one.
One's teetering and may be there if there's a reunite movement happening in your backyard.
Who? Oh, no. Oh, no. No! Hey, if he comes here, hey, welcome to the family.
No, I'm going to be staging an intervention to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay.
Hey, I don't like surprises, so be careful. You may have an intervention on the intervention of the intervention.
Yeah, no. I certainly don't need that. Yeah, no.
Well, here's the other part that I found interesting. So the New Orleans Saints trade away their pick, their first round pick to acquire some players, right? Mm-hmm. What did they trade away for that first round? What did they trade away for?
I believe they traded twice. They traded up for Olave, and then they traded for Trevor Penning, the tackle out of North Dakota.
So here's the problem with that trade. That's generally you trade because you're going to make the playoffs. So you think, all right, that's a 25th pick. Mm-hmm. Well, they end up being the 10th pick. So now you got to get.
They had to fight at the end of the year to get that out of like the top 4 to 10. Like they were fighting to get that out.
It was. I mean, like army crawling. They utilized the Sean Payton thing, and I think that's why some teams were off of it, like Arizona, because they used Sean Payton to get that first round pick back, and I think that was very putting off to some teams. Arizona had a great meeting with him, I heard, but then they moved on from him, or maybe he, I don't know what the circumstances were, but obviously he's with Denver now, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And ultimately, the question is, will Russ, will this help him out? Indianapolis Colts. What do you think about that? They're still searching for their head coaching job.
They're putting the works on these 12-hour interviews. I don't know what I'm interviewing for 12 hours for, but it certainly isn't the Indianapolis Colts job. And Jeff Saturday keeps getting through every round of these interviews. So at this point, if I'm one of the other candidates, I'm a little insulted that it's like, what am I not saying, or what have I not proven at my previous stops? Because they're not interviewing me. They're interviewing people who have coached football before. And it's like, if it's me and this guy neck and neck, I've never blown a 33-0 lead. Like, I don't know what else I need to say for 12 hours that's going to get me this job.
That just shows you how in-depth and how That just tells you what the state of that team is. They're trying to get it right this time.
It feels like more than that. Like other teams, and maybe they should be doing this, but other teams have made hires and it hasn't taken this long. This is like the 4th round of interviews, I think, that they've officially announced.
Well, how about the Arizona Cardinals? How about them? It's out of Brian Flores. Who else?
All I see with the Cardinals is people removing themselves from consideration. I don't even know who else is still like because there was another. The Panthers just picked up a Hero, the former defensive coordinator
of Avero, whatever.
Avero.
I hear he's legit.
Yeah, the Broncos defense was for sure their strong point and has been for a while, but he was getting head coaching nods too, and there's still jobs open. And he said, "You know what? I'll just go with Reich."
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, the flavor of the year is offense. They want
for sure,
offense.
1,000%. D'Amico Ryans. If anyone was going to go defense, they were going with D'Amico Ryans.
I think that's a great hire, man. I love that hire because if you think about it, if he's 30, 38 or 35, like 36 years old, man, if he goes 5 or 10 years, he still has the energy to keep up with these young guys.
Yeah.
Right? He also knows what I like about this hire. First of all, let me say this. Let's hope that this third minority hire gets more than a year. Okay? Let's just throw it out there. Right?
I'd hope so.
And the reason I'm bringing up race, and not everything is about race, you're absolutely right. Not everything is about race. But there are some things when you have a law or a rule that's emphasizing you must interview people of color as part of the process, that means there are issues within the system that we have to acknowledge it. And it's not, I'm putting this down. I'm just like, there's a speeding limit. Why? Because people speed.
Right.
And it's okay. But don't act like that. There are always people that are saying not everything is about race. You're absolutely correct. But guess what? There are some things that are about race. There are some things that are about people's preconceived notions about people. There's preconceived notions about me on my own podcast. Oh, Steve's this. Oh, Steve's that. Man, you see me on here for 2-3 hours. You watch me play football. You watch this, you watch that. And guess what? You still don't know me. Because there's things I'm discovering about myself. Yes, I know who I am, but let me be honest. I didn't always know who I am. I wasn't always comfortable in my own skin. And I'm not talking about my black skin. I'm talking about skin as in what I experienced as a kid, what I experienced as an adult, what I experienced in college, what I experienced in life. They made me uncomfortable. They made me aware of some things that I was not privy to. There were some things that I was like, right? There's some people that when they hear me speak, they say, man, that brother must got CTE. Actually, let me tell you, when I was a little kid, and also my boys have struggled with it, stutter. I have a little bit of a stuttering. I'm dyslexic, but more of anything, I had a speech impediment where my mind was moving faster than my mouth. So when I was a young boy, I was stutter, right? And I'm not making fun. I'm telling you, I was stutter.
Right.
My son Payton stuttered. Boston stuttered a little bit as a kid. Deuce stuttered a little bit. It's just like when your mind is moving faster than your mouth. And so I've experienced that. And so I have to work on it all the time. There's some words that you'll catch me. I go, I'm doing that because there's words I'm like, man, I already know I can't say that. Like my son right now, Deuce Smith. Wash. That's how I pronounce it. Wash. Oh, babe, I'll throw that in the wash. He's like, Dad, it's wash. It's wash or iron. I'm gonna iron that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with iron.
Yeah,
I think you said that
I say iron, but that's just how I say it.
I mean, I get most words wrong, so you're preaching to the choir here.
Well, I mean, I'm not preaching. I'm just pointing it out. So,
But I mean, to your point about the NFL and race, I believe it was last year, if not the year before, the NFL settled because they were categorizing black player head injuries as less than white player head injuries. They had to pay a settlement for this. So it's like, it's 2023. Everyone looks at the progress that's made. But I think people use that as an excuse to, we're good right here, instead of push forward.
I'm not pushing race. I'm also just pointing out there's clear areas of people are not well presented, and devil's advocate, right? Is what about people who aren't black? Does that mean they shouldn't get a job? No, I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm saying everybody should get an opportunity if they're qualified to get the interview.
A true fair shot. An actual fair shot.
The fact of the matter is, not everybody gets a true shot. There are some people who don't get a shot because the height, weight, gender, experience, dress. If you're homeless and don't have a permanent residence, you don't get a job. If you have made a mistake when you was a kid, if you took a plea bargain when you were a kid, there are some things that have happened, mistakes that have happened that people have been through that has the impact that they're never able to get certain jobs ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also discrimination. So that's all I'm saying. And I'm not trying to make it about that, but I do think that you have to point out the Rooney Rule was invented because there were people who were getting overlooked because of people's preconceived notions about certain groups of people. Bottom line. And you can run from it. You could dislike it. I'm not trying to bring politics or, any of that stuff into entertainment. And I know how some people are about that, but I'm also saying that there are times you can't glance over it because that's not what you want to hear.
Right. I mean, Brian Flores, I believe, unless it's been settled, is still actively suing the league. So it's still an issue in the modern NFL. It's actually
now. Is it fair to say that Brian Daboll getting that job was the right man for the job?
Definitely.
Is it fair to say that?
Definitely.
Now, can we say Brian Flores would have done a better job or equal job? I don't know because he didn't get the job.
Right. And is it fair to say he never went into that interview with a fair chance? He was just there to fill a quota.
I don't know the intent of that organization or the intent of the people, so I can't speak for that.
Right.
I really can't.
But that's what he's part of what he's saying.
But he obviously something in that interview made him feel that way.
Oh, definitely.
Wasn't in the interview.
Or a few days later when Belichick texted him and sent all this whole thing.
All right.
But yes, D'Amico Ryans, even if you remove race from that, it's bad business to keep hiring and firing coaches every year. How are you ever going to develop players? How are you ever going to attract free agents? Like, how are you going to use these high draft picks on players? They don't know what's happening.
Correct.
They don't know. They're getting taught a new defense every year. They're getting taught a new offense every year. Like, that's terrible.
That's not good football.
No, it's awful football.
And you're going to lose your fan base.
Big time.
I think D'Amico Ryans is good. That defense is already strong, so he's going to build on top of that. The salary cap is moving up, so that gives you an opportunity. He's going to be positive on defense. He's going to make an immediate impact, so he's going to get some guys that's going to hit free agency. Ooh-wee. They're going to be intrigued to go there. And the other part that I said that I love about D'Amico Ryans as the head coach, he already knows the problem with that organization. He was a player. He knows where the bodies are buried. He understands what's in. It's one thing to say, "Oh, we opened up Pandora's box." He knows what's inside of Pandora's box.
Right.
He knows what's in that time capsule and what can change and what needs to change and what players and people are there in the front office that you go, yeah, they're okay. But we need better. Because he's also left an organization and some other organization that he goes, all right, when we did this was good. When we did that wasn't so good. So he gets to kind of do that. And he's also had the opportunity to watch what this organization has not done for the last two other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. So if you're the Texans right now, you took the defensive coach. They obviously have a lot of pieces missing. Do you take the quarterback this year, or do you wait one more year?
First of all, you got to solidify your offensive line no matter what. Because if you get a free agent, you get a placeholder, or a free agent placeholder, same person, or you get a young quarterback with a placeholder as a free agent to teach him. You have to shore up that offensive line first. Because if you don't shore up that offensive line, if those guards are not good enough to keep your quarterback upright to go through his progressions, you are not going to get a successful quarterback. You're going to get a quarterback who eventually are going to create bad habits, keep his eyes looking at the rush versus his eyes looking down the field, right? You cannot discover where you're going with the ball. You cannot discover where you're going with the ball before the snap. If you have a bad offensive line, you will be discovering where you cannot go because you have a bad offensive line. So to develop a good quarterback, you can have shaky tackles, but what you cannot have is shaky guards. Center and guards, think about it. That's why the Philadelphia Eagles, that's why the Kansas City Chiefs, man, those guards are unbelievable. Tackles, right? We saw it this week. We saw it with Kansas City and the Bengals. Man, they ran an ISO play. Let me tell you how good. So I was breaking this down. Why the Kansas City Chiefs? This is what I believe. I went back and watched the film. The Kansas City Chiefs did some things in that Week 18 game that they lost against the Cincinnati Bengals, that they set it up for the AFC Championship game. Did they play in Week 18 or 17? I can't remember. Last year, the year before, they played in Week 17. So
right,
this
that's
year,
what I'm remembering.
Yeah. So I went back and watched it. Here's what they did. The Kansas City Chiefs ran a different kind of defense and lost that game in a regular season. Lost. They come in the first half and they run totally opposite of what they did in the game during the season. Here's what they did. They had 32, and I can't remember his name right now because my mind is swarming. They had 32 come line up. They had Chris Jones lined up on the end.
Kansas City's defense? Is that
Yes,
Bolton?
Kansas City defense. So they had – it was part of the first couple of 4 sacks early in the game. When Chris Jones got his first sack in the playoffs, Chris Jones was lined up multiple places, but on this particular play, he was lined up off to the tackles to the right. So he's lined up right at the right side of the tackle, left side of the defense. 32 comes up. They have 4 guys. Center must ID. He says, Louis, Louis, Louis. That's AKA for left. Strength to the left. We're all sliding left. You know what that left? That left isolation with number 77, who was not the starter, on Chris Jones. Do you want to know what happened?
Nothing good for 77.
Chris Jones got his first sack. In that first half, they had 4 sacks. Because they had set up a totally different defense. What I love about this chess match that the Kansas City Chiefs did with Spags is Steve Spagnuolo did this. He said, we will lose the battle to ultimately win the war. Because that AFC Championship game was a nail biter. And they allowed playing this chess match. Let me show you this. And that game plan by Zach Taylor came in with this type of defense that they're going to run. And they switched that thing all the way up in the AFC Championship game. And that gave them that 14-point head start. And that changed the whole complexity of how the Kansas City Chiefs were able to defend Burrowhead, as they say, in winning, because they knew that the Cincinnati Bengals were confident and comfortable. And that's what got them in trouble. Now, obviously, it doesn't help that the defensive lineman gave Patrick Mahomes an opportunity to win a daytime Emmy by getting pushed out of bounds on the white and flailing and becoming one of the best soccer players known on the pitch, but that's not his fault.
I don't even think it was that big of a flop.
No, it wasn't. But he threw a little extra. He threw some hot sauce on it. Hey, what's that?
Sure.
What's that hot sauce commercial? I throw that on everything.
It's like that was. I feel like if you're any quarterback, the second you get near the line,
opportunity,
a boundary, yeah.
Oh yeah. That's just like we go to the Super Bowl, right? We're gonna be working face to face. Push me on camera. Oh, I'm falling. I'm falling. I'm knocking down cameras, everything. I'm gonna make it look like, and I'm gonna say, he called me the N-word too. I'm good.
The Boston guy? Yeah, we believe that.
Absolutely. Yep.
So why is he still doing a show with him 2 years later? That doesn't make any sense.
He pushed me, called the N-word. You saw. It'd be on camera.
Oh man.
Yeah.
They're gonna have me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I think of a racist team.
Oh yeah. Hey, can't work with them. Can't work with them.
This is Bandit. He founded Underdog Fantasy so that humans who really love sports could play with their friends and win some big prizes. Tell your human to go to UnderdogFantasy.com today.
All right, David Carr. Where's David Carr going? How about the Las Vegas Raiders screwing that up, huh?
Which one is David Carr, the one that still plays?
Oh, I'm sorry, Derek. Yeah,
I was asking because I genuinely never know. Neither of them are good enough for me to learn the difference between the two of them. And I mean that with no disrespect, because I do believe David.
Total disrespect. Derek Carr.
David is the reason the Texans shouldn't take a quarterback. No, not because he was bad, because they didn't figure out their line, and he was the most sacked quarterback in NFL history.
Thank you.
I mean that also, sir. I genuinely mean that. That's why they shouldn't take. Bro. If they take Bryce Young this year, he'll be in the league for 2 years. He's too small to take that much punishment. And I don't mean that as a slight to Bryce Young. He's just
he's a little frail. He's a little thin, but man, he can throw the ball. They say he got.
He sure can. He sure can.
I've had some scouts say I don't know where he gets his power from in throwing the ball, because it's definitely not in his body, right? It's not in his lower extremity. It's not like Jalen Hurts, where he's over there bench pressing, squatting 600 pounds.
Right.
No. So it's pretty unique. So once he gets in a program, he'd be good.
It's not even like Kyler, because Kyler's always been filled out, you know what I mean? But like Bryce is just very slight, and that worries me, especially for a team with no line to speak of.
So that's why he got solidified offensive line.
1,000%. That's why I'm in favor of waiting. But for Derek Carr.
Yeah, where's Derek Carr go?
The Jets feels too easy.
I don't like that move. I don't
either. But
here's why. I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett is offensive coordinator based on what we've seen. He was the play caller this year. He wasn't the play caller in Green Bay.
Right.
He helped orchestrate and play design, but he did not call plays. I'm not sure, right? And I also think if it doesn't work out for the Jets and Robert Saleh with Nathaniel Hackett, I think that could put him on a hot seat a little bit.
Definitely. People were calling for him this year, and I thought the Jets overperformed what they should have done given their quarterback situation. So I'd be thrilled if the Jets moved on from him. He's a thorn in my side.
Who?
Robert Saleh.
Oh, you're just talking about because New England Patriots.
Correct. Yeah.
So the successful Robert Saleh, that's who you're referring to.
Yes. Now, this is the best the AFC East has been in coaching competence this whole run. And all 4 teams. And
based off all of that, your first thing is get him out of there because he's screwing up my New England Patriots.
He's making we still swept the Jets this year as we
but he's making it difficult because you guys like the easy stuff.
Tougher. I would like one of the teams to be terrible. I don't need all 3 of them to be bad. I'd like one of them to be awful.
So how about all 3 of them be good?
That's what it was this year, and it was hard. You understand? I didn't care for it. I want one walkover team. The Bills aren't going anywhere. The Dolphins, you really can't trust the Dolphins.
Boston guy.
What do you mean?
I don't want
every division.
I don't want competition. I want easy street. You said you don't like competent coaches in your conference.
I said I did like 3 competent coaches, like one idiot, one guy who just has no idea what's happening, and that should be the Jets coach. That fits their franchise.
Would we say that was maybe the New England Patriots this year on the offensive side?
And we got new coordinators, did we not?
Yeah, y'all sure did. Quickly, like quick.
Yeah, we made a top priority.
Yeah. So what does Matt Patricia do and Joe Judge?
I could care less. Joe Judge should go back to being special teams because I still think that was our worst unit this year by far. The offense showed glimpses of competence. Special teams at no point to show that they were competent.
Hey, so that's Joe Judge. I don't know who the special teams coach is, but he looks very familiar. Like I played against him.
I forgot his name. Yeah, I forgot his name.
I don't know who he is, and he always gives me a look, and I think he's upset at me for not knowing his name. Or he just doesn't like me. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, man, I know him. But I never look him up because I'm like, I won't see him again. And I always see him.
I think we looked him up on the show. I think he was only in the league for like a year. So it wasn't for a while. And he didn't I don't think he went to a big school either. I'm blanking on his name, but I'm done with him. More so than Patricia. I'm done with him. Patricia should be, and he'll never live up to this, but he should be the new Ernie Adams. He should just be sitting in a back room, locked in there, just watching film, looking for one play per week, just like Ernie Adams did for 50 years. That's all he should be doing. Grinding tape. Ernie Adams was like the godfather of the Patriots. He was the guy who Belichick, I don't want to say leaned on, but worked with closely to find some sort of edge.
So did he see it? Was he sitting in a back room like Bernie Madoff? Like one of those where he had one computer and a laptop and he was extorting people? Is that what?
No,
have you ever seen that Bernie Madoff
the movie?
Show?
Or Billions?
The documentary?
Oh, the documentary? No, I haven't.
Bro, you need to see it.
Yeah, bad guy.
It is very, very intriguing. That man had been ripping people off since 1979.
I was shocked he thought that would work for as long as it did. Just my base level understanding. Well, it did until it didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, he only bought like 20, 30 homes in the process. So, I mean, he was winning.
For a while. But no, Ernie Adams was, I don't want to say most famously, but most recently, the play against the Seahawks, the Malcolm Butler interception. Okay. He was the one who said they're going to jam and Ricardo Lockett's going to come inside. And so you see they did it in in hotel walkthrough the day before. That's when they installed it. And you see Brandon Browner turn around and because Malcolm Butler was not supposed to be playing and tell him, hey, this is what's going to happen. Yeah. And it's all written in the stars from then. So Ernie Adams was extremely important. And I can't think of something more useful for Matt Patricia to try and emulate than that. Because offensive coordinator failed horribly. Defensive coordinator, we've seen better. Head coach, Detroit Lions fans do not like that guy. And I do not want to experience that here. So he can go in the back room. Joe Judge can go back to special teams.
All right. What about Tennessee? So here's the teams: Tennessee, Tampa Bay, Atlanta.
For Derek Carr?
For Derek Carr. I don't like Tennessee because I think Josh, first of all, they don't have a coordinator. They don't have a general. I think they have a general manager, but I don't know yet. They don't have a general. They have a general manager. What kind of offense are they going to run? Is it going to? Are they changing it up? Is Derrick Henry the focal point? Can he be the focal point? I believe he can, but if he is, that means that you're substituting Derek Carr in for a upgraded Ryan Tannehill. I'm not going to say it's an upgrade. I'm not going to say it's a downgrade. I'm going to say, what kind of offense are they running, though?
I think it's an upgrade if you're just looking at the one-to-one talent from Carr to Tannehill.
Yep.
But we're watching Carr from an offense that had a whole bunch of weapons to the Tennessee Titans. So that's where it's like
they have 1-2 weapons.
They've got
in a receiver room,
right? Like Traylon Burks, maybe. You know what I mean? He had some flashes in terms of plays.
Yeah, flashes don't mean that's you're going to play like that every single game.
Absolutely, and it's still the Tennessee offense, which there's not much to write home with there. And then it's like Robert Woods, who first year coming off of an injury, probably a number 2 at his peak, and that might be behind him.
Well, also your number 1 wide receiver is a tight end.
Also that.
Right?
So
Austin Hooper. And he's not known for his swift feet as a tight end. Very intermediate, low intermediate route runner. Like he does damage in the first 7 yards, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? I like him, but that can't be your focal point. Like, you got to have some other guys, right? Some other guys. And I'll tell you one of the things that they're not talking about. We talk about the Kelsey brothers. We talking about Jalen Hurts. We talking about Patrick Mahomes. You know who's not getting a lot of shout out? You know who's not getting a lot of credit? DeVonta Adams and A.J. Brown. Why these two guys, and we need to isolate this, why these two guys are so dynamic. First of all, 2,000-yard receivers. DeVonta Smith pushes and applies pressure onto the defense. Because of that speed, he puts doubt in the cornerback and the defensive coordinator and the secondary's mind. So that gives them an ability. That makes them say, hey, if we lose and miss on a jam, he could beat us over the top. So let me go ahead and give him a little bit more wiggle room on the shorter routes. Then he has the ability, he's shown you, to set up the defender or defenders in moving forward in setting that up. So you got 2 defenders or a defender occupied by DeVonta Smith, the Slim Reaper. Then you got A.J. Brown, who we've seen it all game long, all year. He can press you and get on the hips and get in the hips and on the feet of the corner. He has a deep threat. He applies pressure with his speed, but he applies pressure also because if you come up and press him, he also won't make you miss. He will throw you out of the way with his strength. Right. So he has intermediate and deep speed. So then you got him setting himself up to the defenders. So now think about it. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 2 corners and a safety. If you play dime or nickel, you remove the linebackers and put in secondary, who now a secondary guy has to cover Dallas Goedert. Right. But then also have to play the run as well. Mm-hmm. And there's this thing in all offenses. They say this: if the running back is on a cornerback out in the field, we put our money on a running back every time. A running back is paid to beat a corner, meaning tackle. A corner is not, most corners, they're a tackle, but their job primarily is to what? Is to cover wide receivers.
Right.
If a corner has 20 tackles, guess what? That means y'all aren't playing well. If a linebacker has tackles, now you start to ask, is it behind line of scrimmage? Where's the point of attack? Where's the collision happening? That's a whole different conversation. But if a corner has a lot of tackles, that's not good.
Do you think there has been less conversation about Philly's wide receivers?
Absolutely. You need to give those men, give them their flowers.
Well, do you think
their wide receiver crew, Zach Pascal, he came over from the Colts.
Mhm.
What's the other receiver? He doesn't get Treadwell.
Quez
Quez is balling.
Watkins.
Man, they put so much pressure in the pass game on the secondary. They don't get enough credit.
Well, do you think they're not getting talked about and hyped up enough because people still don't trust Jalen Hurts' arm?
No, I think they're not getting hyped enough because as media, sometimes we go with the low-hanging fruit, which is the big name. DeVonta Adams is not a big name yet. A.J. Brown is, but we were talking about the draft. Oh, look how well he's done for them. A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith don't get enough credit, and I'm telling you, give these men their credit. Let me sound the alarm. If Snead is not able to play, you're going to have rookies going against A.J. Brown. Do not think you can put Watson on A.J. Brown, man to man. I don't think it's going to go well. I'm not a bet man, but I got A.J. Brown in that one. I got the Slim Reaper in that one. Man-to-man coverage, y'all going man-to-man. Now let me give you a little analytical stuff. The Kansas City Chiefs, throughout the season, 57% of the time, split safeties. You know what split safety is? Zone coverage.
No. Okay.
Split safety. Single safety. Split safety. Split safety is saying, hey, we're going to jam up, slow them down, to slow them down, throw off the timing, to eliminate the hole shots. Hole shots is like that area between corner, safety right there. Whew. One of those, if you go back to, I think it was Ed Reed after the 2005 season. So 2007, 2008, NFL Madden. If you go to Madden, those years, if you go to Madden and you watch the beginning of the game, there's a turkey hole shot that I'm on there, and Ed Reed knocks the snot out of me. He hits me so it's a turkey shot. I'm right here, and he hits me so hard that I flip. That's a turkey shot, right? But A.J. Brown, he could play. But because of that, Jalen Hurts is ranked sixth most intermediate throws. Why is intermediate throws? And people say, oh, he doesn't throw the ball down the field. You don't have to when the defense is giving it to you. That RPO game allows that. When the RPO game, when you do the RPO, that allows the linebacker to take a step forward. He takes a step forward because he has to respect the run. As he respects the run, that means he takes a step forward. So that means he's closer to the line of scrimmage, which means he's a step and a half or 2 steps out of position for the throwing lane on the quick throw. And that's why they're so good at the intermediate throws. But yet, look at all the highlights. DeVonta Smith going against when the Minnesota Vikings played a lot of zone coverage against 2 safety looks against the Eagles. They torched them, bro. Torched them against the against the Green Bay. The New York Giants. Wow. Ran a deep over. DeVonta Smith line going across the middle, passing them up to, and it was play action, passing up to the safety. Adrian Love on that island. Deep pass. I think it was like 67 yard or 57 yard first down catch. Remarkable. I think there's going to be, if you're talking about who has a chance, Patrick Mahomes, based off just history, has consistently outperformed Jalen Hurts in his young career. But I give the edge of wide receiver to the Philadelphia Eagles. Hands down. Their wide receiver group overall is much better than Kansas City Chiefs. The question mark isn't, because the Kansas City Chiefs, they have Travis Kelce and then them.
Right.
New York, the Philadelphia Eagles, they all got names. A.J. Brown, Slim Reaper. They're still, Juju Smith-Schuster? He had AFC Championship game, 1 catch for 7 yards.
That's the
Valdez
thing.
Scandry, MVS, bald. Kadarius Toney, hurt. Sky Moore, still developing. Mikael Hartman, pelvis, oblique, whatever he has going on, so he's not there. I have to give it based on performance, based on this year's statistics. Juju Smith-Schuster, since that concussion, hasn't been the same player either.
Right.
I got to give it to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Strong agree. Very strong agree. You were talking about Carr before that, though, and there's a team you mentioned that I think would be catastrophic for that team, and it's not a slight on Derek Carr. If Tampa thinks they can just replace Brady with Derek Carr, Tampa was bad this year with Brady. They're not a quarterback away. They're a lot of pieces away, and I feel like they'd be better inclined to tear it down than to just try and like bridge gap it with Carr.
Man, I don't think I agree with Tampa Bay's not the place because of the offense coordinator situation. They sustained so many injuries. Right. You can't make up. You don't really know who are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. Derek Carr is in a place where I think he needs to make the decision based on his family dynamic and then also, too, what each team brings to the table. This isn't an interview of what does Derek Carr want. Derek Carr needs to be interviewing them as well. Saying, hey, definitely, where are you going? What division or conference are you in? And do I help you get over the hump? If I'm your savior, that's a problem. Definitely. I don't want to be your savior. Because that's what I was supposed to be with this new regime with the Las Vegas Raiders. And all you did is say, cool, thank you, get out of here.
You're right, immediately.
Yes. We love you so much, we want you out of here. And the Las Vegas Raiders, someone told me that the Las Vegas Raiders, and they may deny it, had asked, so they have to make a decision on Derek Carr by Wednesday after the Super Bowl, or his contract is fully guaranteed, 20 today, 20 tomorrow. So that's fully guaranteed. Well, they foolishly showed their cards. No team is going to pick him up for $40 million, guaranteed, when you could possibly give him 20, 10 up front, 10 for the year, and then do some incentives. But you showed your hand, and now you think somebody else is going to do something that you were stupid enough to do? No.
I mean, they definitely killed the value, but there are still some teams out there that are like, we don't think we can win a pitch in free agency. We will trade this second for him.
But I hear they want a first. For
sure, but if there's only one team calling, you're not going to.
But he has a no trade clause, meaning he has say over. So here's what I'm doing. I'm digging my heels in the ground, and I'm putting my phone on airplane mode until after. I'm not even putting it on Wednesday. I'm taking it off Thursday after Super Bowl. Right. Airplane mode. Bro, did you see him at the Pro Bowl in the he was out there throwing dimes. He said, "Oh, I ain't good enough. Hit that one. How about that? Take that one." I mean, 50, I think it was 51 points.
I don't remember the amount of points, but I just remember after they asked him, and he was like, yeah, it's the best I've ever played here, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad. Atlanta Falcons. Does he go to Atlanta Falcons? You like that?
Are they just going to ask him to hand off 35 times a game like they do everyone else?
I talked about their wide receiver. I think their wide receiver, he's a big body guy. And people talking about, man, he caught everything in college. Guess what, people? He's not in college anymore. Oh, he played okay. They force-fed him. They fed him the ball to justify the draft pick. Without Kyle Pitts, he was okay. There are games where he is MIA for like 2 or 3 quarters. And they say they're not giving him the ball. They're not giving him the ball because he can't make that separation yet, and he's still transitioning. Is he a physical wide receiver? Yes, he can be. He's just not. It doesn't translate in the game yet. I haven't seen it.
we're talking about the South, what about the Panthers?
No.
He's an upgrade.
Yeah.
If you don't have to give up if you can just outright sign him, I don't know what the Panthers cap.
If you can outright sign him, yes.
Okay.
But are you talking about trade? Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm certainly not trading the first for him.
Okay, that's what I was based on the trade. No.
Okay.
If you say trade, no. Huh?
Would you trade a second for him? A second round pick?
Why am I going to trade when I know by Wednesday he's going to be cut?
Just to have that exclusivity. To not have to bid against someone else. Because his contract could end up being the same.
Okay, that's cool.
Market.
But I'm not trading. I'm not giving away the future equity for him. Do I believe he's worth it? No, in regards of future, because there's too many good players in later rounds that you can get.
Definitely.
That now you move up and because you lose your second, now you gotta decide, okay, we get our first, but if we don't move back, we don't get extra first. We don't have a second, so that means in our third, we got to lose our third and fourth to get back in the second. So now we're left with a fifth. It's just too much math and calculation and just thought process. When I got to think that much to get a draft pick, no, man, no. Like if I got to barter to get a fresh new pair of wheels, like, hey, well, if you give me everything in your wallet plus this, I'll give you that 4 pair of new tires. Just can I just buy 4 new tires? So
they don't even let you buy 4 tires. They make you buy 3 and they tell you the 4th one's free. It's one of my least favorite lies in society. Buy 3 tires, get 1 free. I don't have a 3-wheeled car. What is this deal? Just tell me the price of the tire. I'm an adult. I can handle this.
Not everybody can. Not everybody can.
No.
Not everybody can. All right, let's do some breakdowns, right?
Yeah, I want to hear about Zay. I want to hear about Zay Flowers because I've heard some wild comps on the internet that I need you to either gas up more or extinguish those fires.
All right. Zay Flowers, wide receiver. I'm reading it on my Remarkable. Zay Flowers, wide receiver from Boston College. 78 receptions, 1,077 yards, 12 touchdowns. Here's what I wrote on here. Here's what I said. Silky smooth. He's a route runner. His balance and body control, unbelievable. Run after catch equals explosive. Very impressive. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Tier 1. He can be a tier 1. He is a day 1 plug and play type of player. Watching his film. So one of the things I wanted to see, his 40-yard time, his velocity, and obviously after watching the Julian Edelman thing, I want to see his shuttle time. I want to see his shuttle drill. And I want to go back because there are some guys, SEC, ACC guys that are going to be heavily touted in the first round. I want to watch his game against Clemson. Because if you watch the play against Louisville over 2 defenders, let me tell you what Zay Flowers is. You ready? He makes the quarterback right. And I love a quarterback. I love a wide receiver that makes the quarterback right. Love his stuff, man. Balance, body control, in and out, his yak. Whoo!
So you are, and I understand who I'm asking about this question, you're not shy on his size at the next level.
How tall is he?
He's like 5'9".
No, you know what tall is he? He's playmaking ability. That's how tall he is.
Understandable. People will look at that. And I mean, we heard it with DeVonta Smith when he was coming out. It wasn't a height issue, but it was a weight issue with him. Yeah. This is the inverse of that.
Hey, people, learn how to coach.
So he's a first-round pick to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. How high is too high? Would you take him 7th overall?
Nah, I wouldn't go 7th. Who's the 7th pick?
What team is that?
Yes. Give me the team.
I think that's the Raiders. I think.
They got a quarterback issue.
They sure do. Sounds like it might get resolved quickly, though.
Who?
Hearing Green Bay number 12 might be moving to Vegas.
Well, you already know he's a rookie, so he ain't gonna put. He ain't gonna.
Right, he's not gonna throw the ball at all.
He's not gonna throw the ball to him.
Patriots
Word
at 14.
on the street, right? Word on the street.
Yeah, for sure,
right?
1,000%. Patriots are at 14.
I like that pick.
Okay.
I like that pick. With some other guys though, you got to get some other. Oh, with
Parker.
Yeah.
We took Taekwon last year.
Yeah, I like that pick. I can see that. Hold on, 14. I don't think he's gonna last 14. That boy can play.
Okay, so he's going between 8 and 14. We've narrowed it down.
No. I'm just saying, like, who's like the Panthers aren't gonna get him because I think they have quarterback stuff, right?
The Jets are up there. The Titans are up there.
Ooh.
Can the Jets go wide receiver back-to-back drafts?
Let me tell you, who's the wide receiver? Who's the Wilson?
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. Who's the other kid?
Moore.
Moore.
Yeah, Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore and Zay Flowers. Even if
with me throwing to him, with me under center.
I like that. I like that one. I don't care I don't care how tall he is or how tall he isn't. That young man can play football. Like him. Actually, I love him. See, I like Quentin. Johnston. And I said, make me love him. Zay Flowers. I like him. I love him. Oh, that boy can play. I'm telling you, man, just the way he gets in and out his routes. Show me, let me get some playback so we could just break this down. I love the way he plays. Look at the speed. Gives an indicator step, attacks the safety, and the safety makes the safety question himself. And then this throw right here. Great play against Wake Forest, wide open, always looking. What I love about this catch is it's almost like flag football. Here's what I mean by flag football. Is what I'm saying flag football is he's catching the ball, but he's already thinking about his next move. Well, I played flag football when I was younger, and what I love, flag football for young, hybrid skill positions, when you play flag football in your skill position, it makes your processing system faster, right? If you're an offensive lineman playing flag football, let's be honest, you're not, like the center's leaking out. But flag football is you catching it, and you have to make a decision immediately because it's a shorter field, condensed, and they just can grab your flag. So you got to make a move because the faster you move, the higher the flags play. So you got a low center of gravity. So I love his play. Go ahead and run it, right? Look at that. Goes, boop. Got some blockers ahead. It's a foot race to the pylon. You're not going to catch this young man. Really love this play right here. Sets him up. Look at that. Then he's going to act like he could throw it. Can't go. What is he always doing, though? He's always looking ahead, right? And I was one of those guys, too. When you see that, when you got a fast guy, he's holding that thing like a loaf of bread, I'm telling you, he's trying to get busy with it. I'm just telling you.
It makes me so nervous as a fan. I'm like, tuck it. Just tuck it.
Matt, just shut up. Rewind. Right? What I love about this play is he sets him up, late hands, pretty good. Right in the bread basket. He's a small guy, but he fights. I like this play right here. Double move. Post. He got a corner post against Louisville. Again, against that safety. That safety ain't got a chance. Or the nickel. Either one. I just like it. If you look at his highlights, explosive. Look at him. Finishes. He's not afraid of contact. Always
Some good blocks. Some good blocks downfield. I like that.
Great blocks. And he's reading the blocks. Look at that. Catching on the field. He could turn a shallow catch into a home run. He's a home run hitter. I'm telling you. Defenders like this. What did I say what I love about him? Balance and body control. The body control, he's dropping his weight because he understands exactly where he is. He also knows that he has the corner in a quandary. Now, you could say, well, Steve, that's great for you to say that, or blah, blah, blah. What's the difference between him and Quentin Johnston? The difference is I've seen him show up and his plays pop up off the screen. And here's what I mean. This same play I kind of had when I was a Baltimore Raven against in the third Monday night, I think it was Monday Night Football, against the New Orleans Saints. When I was back in the end zone and I knew where I was. Yes, I used my body to catch the ball, but that was the only way because I knew the impact of me hitting the ground with my body was going to make the ball move. And when you hit the ground and in the end zone, what do they say you have to have? What did I say he has? Balance and body control. And the only way you know about body control is if you mastering your craft. Yes, he lets the ball hit his chest because he's in a position, if he jumps up, the defender can push him out of bounds. But he knows where the ball is, the defender doesn't. So he doesn't panic. He tries not to. And this is how I know he did not let his eyes tell on him. Because defenders who looking at the receiver, they say, you hear them, I watch their eyes. Well, he didn't recognize his eyes widening out. So the defender did the old, let me throw my body up and try to shield him because I don't know when the ball's coming, but my internal football clock is telling me, ball's coming, we're in the end zone. There's a probability, ding, 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 ding. You know, TMZ always shows you that little pointer. When you see the little point for TMZ, it's never good. So let's put the TMZ pointer on this defender. Ding, 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 ding. You in trouble, buddy. It's not going to be good for you. Now run it. Great body control. Look at that. He stops, drops his weight, and then catches the ball and allows his body to be there. Great catch. I love it. Great body control. Listen, if he runs a fast 40 like I think he will, I think he leapfrog Quentin Johnston. If he catches the ball, great. If he has a good day, I can see this would be I can see him moving up and being a good pick.
So you don't think the playing in the ACC should be held against him as opposed to someone playing in the SEC?
I mean, scouts do that. I'm not into that. I'll just
for sure. That's why I'm asking.
I can't speak on how the scouts do that. I just let his game speak for me.
Okay.
And he's a day one, tier one. I just need to see his 40 time, his vertical jump, and his shuttle drill.
So the two comps going around on him right now, people love player-to-player comps. It makes it easier for people to see what they can be. And they're almost always wrong. But the two going around I've seen the most for him, Percy Harvin and Antonio Brown.
Okay. I like the Percy Harvin because here's why. The Percy Harvin is when Percy Harvin wasn't in Florida, Urban Meyer did a great job of understanding his quarterback situation. And his quarterback situation was this. When he had Chris Leak, a lot of people Chris Leak never really got much credit compared to baby Jesus as
the savior himself, yeah.
I don't even remember his name now.
Tim Tebow.
Because in my mind is baby Jesus, right? That's how I categorize man. But what I respect about Urban Meyer was what he understood is Tim Tebow didn't have a strong arm. So what did he do? He got a whole bunch of athletic guys, condensed the field, and said, let's get it out quick, get into my playmakers' hands, and let them do work. That's what Percy Harvin did in Seattle. That's what he did in his career, and it made him right. Antonio Brown is a little bit different because Antonio Brown with Big Ben, they ran a different offense, kind of like what Diggs is running with Josh Allen in Buffalo, which is they run not makeup routes, but whatever the corner is. If the corner's lined up here, we run this. If the corner's lined up here, we run that. If the corner's here, we run that. So that's a little bit different, right? I don't know what comps it is right now, but here's what I could put him on. Here's the comp that I want to say. If he continues to show this explosiveness, I put him on a comp with Jalen Waddle.
Interesting.
Because he could turn he makes the quarterback right. He could turn a short pass into a home run. And I think, like Jalen Waddle, I think he got some pretty good darn routes. I like his route game.
Right. I think that was the thing with the AB comparison. I think when most people, fans at least, when they think of AB, they think of his footwork.
One thing about AB that I think sometimes AB became this player that he is, and I don't think AB's a bad player. I think AB was outstanding.
Yeah,
right? But it took some time to evolve. I think Zay Flowers has the ability to impact the game today, not tomorrow. AB is an champion. AB is an NFL champ. AB, for his time in NFL, is what it is. You can't take it away from him.
No.
But it took some people did not see what AB had became the first couple of years because they had Plaxico Burress and then Hines Ward.
They had Martavis for a minute.
Oh, yes. It was so much stuff, but I think Zay Flowers has that ability to stand out just like Jalen Waddle. Right? That's the guy I got. Here's another one that I didn't tell, but I'm just throwing it out there. Jalen Cropper, wide receiver for Fresno State, led his team in receptions. He's 6 feet, 173 pounds. Got some nice releases. Gives a lot of great indicator steps on doing this deal. He makes the defender wrong. I believe he runs some unbelievable inside routes. I think he's going to be a slot guy, right, initially, but I think he can show that he can play outside too. I think people are going to put him in that category that he is only this. One of the comps that I said, great route, great sign. He knows how to run routes. I think he's going to stay open. He's going to be like 7-11. He's going to stay open and constantly these two guys I really like.
So is Zay Flowers right now, he's your wide receiver 1 for this class?
I look at Zay Flowers as more complete than some of the other guys.
Okay.
And that's just based off the 4 or 5 guys I looked at. Now, it could change. Once I go to combine.
That's why I said right now.
Yeah,
that's why I said right now.
Like right now. It could change. I haven't looked at all the wide receivers. I haven't looked at every single guy.
Right.
But I've looked at 5 guys. And every week I'll give you 1 or 2 guys that I'm looking at. And it isn't I like this guy over that guy. I'm just telling you I love what I see.
Right.
Zay Flowers and Jalen Cropper. I don't like what I see. I love what I see. Now, I know Quentin Johnston is ranked above them because of his height and speed and the range and his catch radius. That's cool. But I'm telling you what I see.
Mm-hmm.
So far, if you don't jump on the Zay Flowers train today, like Pusha T says, today's price is not tomorrow's price.
That's almost what he said, yeah.
What does he say? I forgot.
It's also Fat Joe. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Dude, that's my point. I love it, bro. I love Zay Flowers. If you want to say which receiver I've looked at, I like Addison, the kid from USC who transferred to Pitt. There's a kid from I don't know his name, but I'm saying it because I'm gonna get to him. The kid from the Tennessee Vols. My only thing with him,
Hyatt or Tillman. They got 2. Hyatt or Tillman.
Whichever one, them boys stay in the slot and very rarely I haven't seen enough man coverage, so I think that's one of the things that people are going to talk about, but I'm going to get into those guys at another time.
Okay.
But I'm just telling you, Zay Flowers, right now, if there's a guy that I'm going, who do you like? It's when scouts start to call me, Steve, which wide receivers do you like? Cropper and my number one wide receiver on 2-6-23 right now, after just looking at about 7 guys, I'm leaning towards Zay Flowers is my guy right now.
Love it. I never thought I'd see the day BC wide receiver 1 in an NFL draft.
Bro,
That's
he's
not what they're known for.
hey, silky smooth. Smooth. I like him. I love him.
That boy can get the Shrine Bowl. You know who's coaching the Shrine? He was just at the Shrine Bowl. You know who's coaching the Shrine Bowl?
Who?
New England Patriots.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Troy Brown.
Who won?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's my whole point.
No idea.
I knew you didn't know. That's why I asked you.
I watched a
little bit of it. I liked the quarterback, DTR?
Oh, from UCLA?
Yeah, I liked him. He plays a little hero ball, though.
Don't they all?
Well, he had to, though.
That's what I mean, yeah. I was gonna say, when you're watching wide receivers, do you ever go, wait a minute, I should be watching this corner instead?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I watch corners.
Okay.
Man, I watch all linemen too. Like I watch their foot placement, hand. Are they like this? Are they comfortable? All of that stuff. So I watch all of that. Like I have seen guards and centers that need to be centers. I've seen guards that need to be turned into centers. I've seen tackles who I'm like, he's a guard in the NFL. He's not a tackle. Right. Like Nick Bosa, it'll tear him alive. Right? So, but those are the two wide receivers. But Jalen Flowers, man, I really love him. It'd be cool if I could get an opportunity. If I get an opportunity to watch a little film with him, kind of pick his brain, see what he thinks. That's my guy right there. I like it. Now I don't know what kind of player he's going to turn into, because if he put him on a team, like if you put him on a team like the Detroit Lions, I think that's a bad pick, because it's the exact same player that they already have.
Interesting. But we just saw the Dolphins kind of double down with 2 similar type players. Is there no value if it's like they both have game-changing speed? Like you might be able to contain one of them, but now the other guy's
there is value. Then that goes with where's your quarterback? So there's where the emphasis goes on your quarterback. Right? I'm just saying I don't see him being a value for the Lions because they already have Williams. He's a speed guy. Brown, he's a speed guy. They got Reynolds, intermediate guy. They got Swift, and then they got Jamal Williams. There's not enough opportunity for him to develop. I think he goes to the Lions, a team like that. You stun his development because there's not enough plays to go around. That's why Rondale Moore of the Arizona Cardinals did not develop, because they turned him into a gadget guy. They are not allowing him to develop his wide receiver skill, mastering his craft. So he's lost in translation. He's not. They have now dwarfed his development because of putting him in his box of a gadget guy.
So it could be more beneficial to go to a place and have too much on your plate than too little.
Yes, because too much on your plate helps you develop. You get hand-to-hand combat. You get life experiences on there where you're like, hey, how do I get off Jalen Ramsey pressing me? Well, guess what? In the game. And then when you don't have success, you have to go back to that game and learn how to beat them. Prime example, I'm with the Carolina Panthers. At the time, the Washington Commanders had this little old corner named Champ Bailey. Stephen Davis just came over from there. We're going against Champ Bailey. Man, I'm going against Champ Bailey, bro. I give Champ Bailey a two-step that was unbelievable. Catch the first pass. So you know what I did next play? I gave him that same two-step. Man, Champ Bailey jacked me up so much, my dang my shoulder strap popped off. He was like, boom. I was like, and so I was just like, I was learning how to do releases in the game.
Right.
So the headline is Steve Smith versus Champ Bailey. So the headline is Champ Bailey baptized me. Okay? So I'm going against Champ Bailey, and I'm lining up. And at this time, this is also the prelude to the Fred Smoot thing. So Fred Smoot was only covering Moose, and then Champ was designated on me. So we're going, and I'm giving Champ the business first play. So I gave him the business first play. Second play, third play, man, I'm over here I'm on the struggle bus. Like, if the struggle bus is there, I'm the driver, and there's 50 passengers, and they're all Steve, and they're all buckled up. Hey, you struggling? Oh, I'm struggling too. You struggling? Oh, I'm struggling too. It was a struggle. And here's where I learned and grew up how to be a wide receiver that helped me throughout that year, and it ended up playing itself out on that championship run in 2003. Ricky Pro, who I love, mentor, bro of mine, Ricky Pro, Slick Rick, what they call him. Slick Rick whispers in my ear. He says, listen, I know you're frustrated. And I got a towel over my head. I'm having like an internal dialogue, like I'm not good enough. I don't know if I can make it in this league right now. This is the best in the league, and I don't have anything for him. Earlier in that year before that, I was in a slot against Dale Carter. You remember Dale Carter? He was a corner. He got Kansas City, had a drug thing, played with New Orleans Saints. But Dale one time was in a slot, and he jammed me up in the slot. Old savvy veteran tried to give him a two-step. Man, I got up, and my helmet was like this. That's my face mask was like this. And I and I was like, wow. So I gave him two-step. I got jammed up so bad. And it was it was PI too. He roughed me up. And he called me a rookie too. He was talking all kind of ways to me. All right, so anyway, I'm going against Champ. And Ricky says, listen, we're going to need you. And you better be able to answer. So take this stuff. Fast forward, when we had picked up Ricky Pro that year, Ricky had taught me something, and he said this. He said, Steve, I said, Rick, what is to be a good wide receiver? You play with Isaac Bruce. You play with Torrey Holt. You play with Akeem. Akeem went to Fairfax High School. I went to University High School, same division, right in LA. And so I looked up to Akeem, Arizona State, played with Marshall Faulk. And he said, listen, the first play sets up the last play. And when he told me that, I was like, what does that mean? And so I was able to follow back up with him that whole offseason. And he said, listen, going into that season, the first play sets up the last play. That is, right? So this is my translation. When you have a laptop or a computer, what allows that computer for its processing system not to slow down and not to just throw it out? Because most consumers, when a new product comes out, they throw out the old product and get the new product. But what does it is the process system, the malware, the virus protection, all that stuff. So if you're constantly updating your software, then the consumer doesn't concern itself with how fast the system is because it's up to tune. So for me, what I figured out is I gotta always have my virus, malware, spyware, virus protection always updated. Mm-hmm. Because the league and the fans and the teams are the consumer. And what do consumers do? They always go to the better, faster, newer product. So I remembered that. And so I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, so I'm going through. Well, this didn't work. That didn't work. Well, when I did this, that didn't work. So what happens? The play that set it up, I'm in the slot. Champ Bailey's pressed up. But Champ knew that I was beating him with my speed off the release. So what do we talk about with speed? Speed puts pressure on the defense in the corner. And in the back of the mind, the corner always knows I can get beat with speed. So let me back up to give myself a little bit more cushion. Well, with that cushion allows me, because when you're pressed up, I'm doing all of this. But when you're back off, my first step is forward. And his first step is backwards. So I'm gaining ground. By gaining ground, I'm also getting leverage. And that's when I say set up the defender. I'm giving him where I want to go. Because what I learned was an inside route, no matter what I do, I must finish in the inside. An outside route, no matter what I do, I must finish on the outside. Because I must make the quarterback what? Right. So I give him a little indicator step, take it inside, fight him off. Jake throws a pass, middle of the field. I jump up. Champ hits me. Bowman or Bower, number 47 for the Washington Commanders, hits me. Make the catch. Steven Davis puts the ball over the end zone. We win. And the only reason I was able to do that, one, Ricky Pro, Musir Muhammad, also my wide receivers coach at the time, Richard Williamson, God rest his soul, Fred Graves, all those people who taught me that stuff, and learning it going against Champ Bailey, one of the best at that time, allowed me to learn on-the-job training, which gave me enough information in my database to be able to problem solve. And if you can problem solve and your lived experiences are your experiences in which you can draw from, then that's why going to a team where you can play and having a good coaching staff and good position coaches around you, good players, helps the developmental part of making a player who he is today. So that's why going to the Detroit Lions can slow down his progress. I don't like that. I don't think going there. I think maybe a team like New Orleans Saints with a good play caller. I don't think Dylan Allen is the guy. But I can see Denver with Sean Payton. That'd be a good call.
Even with Jeudy and Patrick and
Jeudy, one of those you said is going to be traded. If one of those guys is traded,
They may.
Well,
yeah.
here's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to trade one of those guys because Tim Patrick's coming back. And Tim Patrick is a damn good route runner. I like Tim Patrick. Shout out to Utah, too, anyway. Tim Patrick. With the new coordinator, Oregon, I like New England with DeVonta Parker. I don't know how good of a coach Troy Brown is, though. I watched Troy Brown, I watched Troy Brown coach. He was with the Shrine Game, and he was talking. I was like, oh, my gosh, he's a New England clone, bro. He was like, hey, we can't turn the ball over. That's a no-no. Like, who uses no-no?
He played his whole career here.
Okay.
What else is he going to sound like? What are you expecting to sound like?
Himself? How about himself? Like he has a brain.
He's never. I know he made a big deal about this because it was the first time he's actually coached. I think he's wide receiver coach with the Patriots.
Yeah.
He obviously played his whole career here. Probably my favorite player, bar none.
Okay.
He was a monster.
Yeah, I agree.
Doesn't seem like you do.
No, I said I agree.
I know. I'm saying it. You usually speak with a little more emphasis when you really agree.
Oh no, how do I say? I thought Deion Branch was better.
Troy Brown was never wide receiver 1, but he made the plays that needed to be made.
And that's why I said I agree with you. I think Dirty was a better Deion Branch was a better, we call him Dirty. I think he was a more well-rounded wide receiver and a bigger threat.
Definitely. I don't even know that it's fair to categorize Troy Brown as a wide receiver. I would call him a football player.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I can understand. No, I can understand that. Yeah. I'm
He
just
played
thinking
corner.
I'm thinking at the same time as you're talking. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was blocking kicks, returning kicks.
Yeah.
He did everything.
Yeah.
He was the only person to take a snap under center for about 7 years other than Tom Brady.
That's super cute. But again, I think
that's where it's like you say he's a Patriot is like a dig. It's like, well, he embodies. Yeah. I think Belichick puts him at the front of the stage every year when like everyone's there for the first time. He's like, this is what I want. I want 53 of these and we'll be fine.
I'm not trying to knock it. I'm just like when we're assessing wide receivers and you say like Troy Brown, he doesn't jump off the page.
Definitely.
That's all I'm saying. Is that a knock? No, it's not. I respect the heck out of Troy Brown. And I met him several times. Love the dude. But I'm just saying, when I look at wide receivers, like I'm not putting Troy Brown in there like Troy Brown and Megatron, right? Like that. That's all I mean.
I very much understand it. I think it makes players like that harder to find since they don't jump out.
Yes, but it's not a dig.
No.
But a Troy Brown for Mac Jones does not help the New England Patriots right now.
No, that's Jacoby Myers for a lack of better comparison.
And that's why I say you need someone more than Troy Brown for Mac Jones today. Now, if you get your established guys, now you add a Troy Brown, and you're like, he takes us over the top.
Yeah,
yes,
lethal.
Exactly.
That was Edelman to Gronk.
Yes. Yeah, so that's all I got.